Story of Jonah 1. God told Jonah, "Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me." Nineveh was then the capital of a country called Assyria in northeastern Israel. Assyria was a strong country that harassed not only Israel but also its neighbors. What did Jonah do when he heard God's words? Most prophets would have obeyed God and said, "Yes, God," even if God's command was something difficult or something that they didn't want to do. But surprisingly, or oddly more like, Jonah, without any hesitation, was headed to Spain, which was the opposite direction from Nineveh. At the time, people thought of Spain as the end of the earth, so Jonah tried to go to the end of the earth by avoiding God's words, not following them. According to the Bible, when Jonah arrived at the port called Joppa, there happened to be a ship bound for Spain. There wouldn't have been many boats headed to the end of the earth, so Jonah would have been happy to see the boat and got on it. This book of Jonah in the Bible keeps on repeating the expression that Jonah went. Jonah went to the Joppa port, he went on the boat to Spain, then he went down below deck. Then finally in chapter 2, he went down deep into the ocean to the bottom of land. Why did Jonah keep on going? The Bible says that Jonah went down, avoiding God's face. So he went to go get away from God's face, and because he went so far, he was not able to see God's face. And as Jonah went further and further away from God, God spoke to Jonah. God spoke to Jonah through a great wind on the sea. In chapter 1 in Jonah in the Bible, it says that God sent a strong wind towards the ship sailing to Spain. The people on the boat, who had never experienced such strong wind, thought that the wind is something totally extraordinary. So people prayed to their own different gods. But Jonah was fast asleep below the deck on the boat. People woke Jonah up and asked, "How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God." How unfortunate, huh? People on the boat were praying to their gods when they saw a wind they had never experienced before, but Jonah, God's prophet, was running away from God. Jonah kept on avoiding God, and he was probably thinking that if he kept on running away, God would just eventually tell Jonah to just not go to Nineveh. Friends, God is not someone who tells us what we want to hear, but someone who wants His will to be done. And when He makes His word known to us, He might tell us directly where to go, but sometimes He tells us in other ways. God may teach us through people, and sometimes through natural phenomena. We go to church, but we shouldn't think that we can hear God's words only at the church, because God tells us His will not only through the words, but also through many different ways.